are we not ready to live free? This is Thinking Liberty.
Is that a trick question? Are we not? I don't know. I'm confused. So if I say yes, then I am not ready.
Well, it's like saying aren't we, but more proper grammars.
More proper grammars.
Yes. So I wouldn't say are not we.
Are we not men?
Are we not?
That sounds a little confusing to me.
All right. Well, you have an entire 2 hours to be confused because we're live on thinkingliberty.net. It's Tuesday, June 28th, 2011. We have a totally unscripted, no notes show. So
That's not on the script.
that's not on the script. And neither are you. So I'm Darian.
I'm Bosco.
I'm Bio.
And Tennyson should be here. He's on his way.
Late as always.
In transit, it would seem. So we'll have a full show. So how's everything going?
Good. I'm still unpacking from Pork Fest, and I was brewing beer today with a beer kit I got at Pork Fest. I was doing that and all kinds of stuff.
Cool. I still have a tent laying out to air out in my apartment over a couple of chairs by the dining table. It's a nice look. Ties the room together.
Nice.
I wasn't going to set up that giant tent in my living room, but that would have been funny if I did.
That would have been awesome. You need to make it so that, like, when people try to open the door, it pushes against the tent and they can't come in. That'd be good.
How did your tent end up to be soaked? Mine was pretty dry.
I don't know. Maybe it was where I was at.
Did you was all the urine?
I was gonna say, did you piss on it?
No.
Did you piss in it?
No, there was no piss.
Did it have to be cleaned after someone defecated in it?
No, there was no going to the bathroom.
I did threaten to do that at some point, I think.
Wow, you're awesome.
You're awesome. Nice.
I'm just wondering, because if I thought of it, I'm sure someone else at Porkfest thought of it.
I was
it's just
defecating in tents all Pork Fest long. I mean, that's all I really
That's
did.
where you were.
it just has some water on the bottom,
Yeah,
underneath
unless it was those guys from Wheels Off Liberty. I heard they like defecating in tents.
I heard they like defecating on each other.
They
Probably.
actually stood with like a broken Jack Daniels bottle to defend their tents from defecation outside all Pork Fest long. That's all they did. Wheels Off Liberty guys, they were that paranoid about it. I mean, they were astoundingly high too, but other than that,
Hi, I thought they just drank.
high on beer
Oh, okay.
and life
And pornography.
and pornography.
That's what the Jamie's intervention was during the show. I think was it like Thursday night? I don't remember now. But,
It all blurs together.
Yeah, it does. But there was like an intervention. He had like several things of booze at his feet, and they tried to set it up as if they were doing an intervention for drinking, and in
Nice.
fact, it was it was an intervention for him buying porn, not having porn, buying porn.
Buying porn.
Yeah, you shouldn't pay for that stuff.
Not in today's age.
Yeah, so those gyros and baklava from Mandrick, they're pretty good. I got his love sauce all over me. Made my hands a little sticky. Good stuff.
I didn't try frying or any of the fried stuff, but I did have the Luther, which was a gyro with 10 pieces of bacon, like not sewn together, weaved together.
Yeah, the bacon weave.
Yeah, so there was a bacon weave. You could replace the pita bread for a gyro with a bacon weave.
Yeah, they were all out of that stuff when I got
and
there.
instead of it, I got bacon and pita because I don't care about the carbs.
Nice.
Yeah, it was $11, but oh, so tasty. I highly recommend it. I guess next year he's gonna have to make like 500 bacon weaves,
Or just charge more.
or charge more. Apparently he had some, but he wasn't giving them up.
I saw.
People should have started bidding on them because the everyone knew that he had more. They should have just.
He was speculating on the bacon weaves.
Now, as he said to me, he's like, "I need these. These are my fuel." I was like, "Oh, all right, that's fine."
Need bacon.
It was good talking to George, though. He's a nice guy.
He was
I'm
very
like that Darian dude.
very sexy in his dress.
He is.
Yeah, I got to dance with him at Buzz's big gay dance party. He like pointed me out and sort of
Yeah.
did this
Yeah,
dance.
I unfortunately had my Alt Expo talk while the big gay dance party was going on. It's like, how do you compete with that?
You got to give the big gay alt expo talk.
Big Kale.
Maybe you can hook up with Buzz and she can arrange something for you.
Okay, yeah, I didn't spend much time down at the big gay dance party. I was in there for like, a minute or two, but
It
kinda
was
winding
It was
down.
fun. It was great to see Star Child in a thong and whatever the hell else he was wearing.
I was looking at some pictures of him today. Very impressive.
you were impressed.
I was impressed.
All right. So I really feel like it's really quiet here. Like we're talking to each other, but there should be like drunk people shouting in the background and like fires and stuff. Like I don't know. Like this is how communication seems like it should be going on right now.
I've been sobering up since Sunday, so we're slowly but surely getting there.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it takes a couple weeks to recover from a week of Porkfest. I think some people don't recover at all and just
They just
try
keep
to
going to the next one.
just carry it over to next year.
They just keep camping and
No, they just keep drinking and getting high.
This next weekend, I think Burning Pork's going on, and there's an Alt Orgs event in outside of Philly. I think.
Yeah,
that's
the
happening too.
Freedom Fest or something's
Something
going
like
on.
that,
And I think Nick Ford and Jack are going to be down there, I believe.
There you go. So we could just go from one to the other to the other to the other.
all right then.
Speaking of sobriety, so Bile doesn't know this, but we were hanging out at the Fix Brewing tent the other day, and both Bile and Darian, you too, Darian, made some comments as to my cooking. And
I did?
yeah, you did. You did. You said, what did you say? You say, Bosco likes to cook, but he's not necessarily very good at it.
Oh, yeah.
And then
I
you
said
talked
that.
about the pizza, and then you alluded to the fact that I wouldn't be able to respond to the queries you were making. Now, it just so happened at that time I was stuck to the chair and I couldn't move any muscles in my face. But barring those two things, I did hear everything that was said. So
Did you hear what I said?
Yeah, you said the pizza was pretty good.
I don't know if I said pretty good. I might have said
Wow.
okay, but
Okay.
I liked it.
He's nicer than I am.
Yeah, apparently.
I don't know.
I'd agree with Bile though.
It's not that it's bad. It's not like California
It just
bad.
doesn't taste like anything.
Well, no, California. I guess that's neutral. Not tasting like anything is neutral. California pizza tastes like negative. So
Yep.
yeah, I guess that's right.
I've found a better sauce for those pizzas, but I haven't made
That's
pizza
the
in a while.
thing. Well, I mean, the bread, getting a good bread and a good sauce, very important.
I concur. I definitely concur.
All right, so you should make us more pizzas.
I was making beer today. I told you that's what I was doing today.
Yeah, what's up with that?
I got a
He's
one.
trying to put Zach Fix out of business.
Yeah, you didn't hear my awesome plan?
Was it to brew beer that's not as good as Zach's?
Whoa,
And
whoa. Talk like that'll get your kneecaps busted. No. See, whereas you have Fix Brewing, which is this awesome free and open market model, and they're very nice and they teach people how to make beer and stuff like that. I'm looking to be the antithesis of that. So I'm going to be called Break Stuff Brewing as opposed to Fix Brewing. And we're just going to use every underhanded and awful tactic we can possibly use to sell beer. That's the plan. And we've got names for beers already. We've got like a broken window brew and other stuff like that. We're going to come up with a Keynesian beer that only works as long as you keep putting more free Keynesian beer into the market. As soon as you stop pumping free beer into the market collapses. We're going to have a lot of cool
that
brews.
sounds very involved.
It's going to be tough, but it's going to be enforced with violence, so that part should be easy. I just got to hire the thugs. That's the next thing.
Are you going to pay them in inflated beer?
No, I'll just cheat them out too. But they don't know that yet.
All right, you just keep adding water to the beer.
I've got-
that way.
I've got
you
a-
make more, but
What I'm brewing now, I've got my Rousseau Porter, which you have to purchase because you consented to purchase it by being born in this particular area.
okay.
So I'm thinking I'll be able to sell a lot.
Wow, this is very innovative strategies here.
Most of this stuff's from Facebook too, from random people chiming in and being like, "Yeah, you need like Leviathan Lager." and all
So
sorts of
you
other good stuff.
appropriated their mind fruit.
I did, and it's mine now. It is my property.
All right. So I noticed that
another
people said that they're going to take a shot when I say all right. Well, give me a better transition and I'll use it. I'll be like, well, damn. Or is that, I don't know, like,
All right.
okay.
It feels so.
Excelente.
It feels so sedate in here compared to the past few days. So anyway,
I told Darian that he needed twice as much bombast. Apparently, he wasn't paying
2
attention.
times the bombast.
bombast.
Well, that sounds like 3 times. That's like bombast cubed.
Bombast. Is that better?
All right, so I noticed that we had this banner at PorkFest, thinkingliberty.net, and it had the word bombast on it. However, someone was supposed to make a /bombast
Well, I was
subcategory.
I was informed that it wasn't supposed to be a URL. That Bosco just put it too damn close and then put a pipe in between.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you still should have done it.
Well, you could have done it too. You have access to the website. I was busy.
Well, I was busy too.
Well, tough shit. No /bombast.
No /bombast.
As I recall, that banner was basically like, "Hey, we got this sponsorship thing. We need a banner by like tomorrow." So it's like, woohoo! I have a sheet in my basement.
It worked. It got donated. I forgot to go and pick it up, so it got donated to the dumpster gods.
Nice.
And yeah, and oh well.
We should have flown it like from the back of the car as we were driving. Like this, how long was that thing? Like 10 feet long?
It was however long, like what a full size
Yeah,
sheet.
it's a full size sheet.
Okay, so not quite that long, but it still would have been a safety hazard, a fun safety hazard.
Garland says, "Oh God, the banner! It hurt my eyes. What's wrong with the banner? Jeez."
It was
I like the
black
banner.
spray paint on a white sheet that was kind of cut crooked at the bottom. That not that you could tell.
She's not gonna like any of the Break Stuff Brewing beer labels. I can tell. I can tell you that right now.
Is it going to be stuff scribbled with a marker?
Quite possibly. Keep in mind, I'm trying to get all my purchases, straight through Force. So why do I even need a decent product? For that matter, why am I even brewing anything? Why don't I just put bottle caps
what
on
you
water
do
bottles?
need are seals, like with the little symbols and like those circles that all the ABC agencies have, where the name's in like a circle and there's like a little, I don't know, scale of justice and like stripes in the middle.
Yeah, that sounds good.
That's how you do it.
I think this is an excellent idea.
Excelente.
You were gonna say, all right. I know you are.
So what is the deal with PorkFest? How would you describe this event?
Well, yeah, go ahead.
This year, I'd say it was sort of a people have made this comparison in the past, like the Libertarian Burning Man or the Libertarian Woodstock, sort of. I mean, not that it's all music the whole time, but that sort of atmosphere. But in years past, there was like camping and then there was partying at the end of the week. This year, it was all partying the entire time. I don't think I noticed anyone really camping, and by camping I mean like making their own food. There were so many vendors. There was so much booze. There was so many people there, even on Monday night, that there was very little camping and there was just a lot of partying. I mean, people were up until like at least 4 in groups, like large groups that you could tell, things were going on every single night. So it's sort of like, one of those events, like a big concert sort of thing.
Yeah, and a lot of different types of libertarians and people interested in liberty were there. So
In
a lot of good
circle
conversations.
jerk, there were a lot of women there. In fact, there were so many women there that they had a picture of them all. And
All 7 of them.
no, there was quite a few, and I'd say over half of the women weren't even in the photo
Yeah,
because they didn't know. They're like,
It's
as
true.
an afterthought. There really was. There was quite a few women.
there were a lot of lovely ladies there.
Much higher percentage than like college.
That's true. That's definitely true. That's not saying much, but that's definitely true.
Oh, Bosco and I went to an engineering school. What was the percentage? Like 8, 13,
Yeah,
something like
it was
that?
pretty brutal. Whatever it was pretty darn awful. But yeah, I'd agree with you. There wasn't a lot of camping going on. Actually, I was talking to Megatron, and she was talking about getting like a hotel room or something possibly next year, things like that. I knew 2 people that were staying in hotel rooms this year because they both had babies. I was also talking to some people who went to more like the family stuff, and they said there was a lot more family events and things like that, like relays and stuff like that going on during the day.
People were playing sports. There was humans versus zombies. There was all the kid stuff. People were pimping out their kids to like run errands and walk dogs. There's all kinds of stuff going on.
Yeah,
Phrases to avoid saying on the show. Pimping out kids. Hey, we're on another watch list now. Awesome.
It was.
Right,
was-
right.
I mean, the weather
More the merrier.
wasn't the best. Like, it was raining a lot
Towards
of
the end of
times
the
I was
week.
there, so I can understand why there wasn't a lot of like campfire and cooking and stuff like that, because that'd be a pain in the ass. But also, there's just so much good food there that it's like, why am I gonna sit and cook some hot dogs when I can walk like, I don't know,
An Egyptian.
half a mile and less, and there will be awesome stuff there.
That's a good point. I don't know. It was good to see a bunch of people that I hadn't seen before. That's always a good part of it. It
Yeah.
wasn't definitely
All
at
your
least-
Facebook friends.
Yep. Definitely, at least for me, like it wasn't long enough. Like because I was only there for 2 days or something like that.
I was there from Monday, and it wasn't long enough. I didn't get to meet all the people that I wanted to talk to. Yeah, I mean, even a week wasn't enough. The amount of time you wanted to spend just hanging out and then helping other people like do whatever, like helping the fixes with their table or vending table and everything. There just wasn't enough time.
Yeah, Ryan and I were only there like a couple of days, and that was definitely not enough.
Definitely.
But
not.
Schedules.
We got some
determined.
4chan peeps lounging out in the chat room because that would be kind of funny.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. All right.
If we did, I think there'd be like 150 people, not
150 people in
10.
there. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean it's I got to figure something out for next year to see if I can get there earlier. I got to see when it is.
18th.
When the 18th, that's highly unlikely. Yeah. Cuz I don't know.
It's the same week. It's earlier.
Right.
Is it going to be at the same place?
Yes.
So, did you see that NPR article? Or I guess
It really didn't
It's like-
say anything
Yeah.
about Porkfest. It was mainly about Gary Johnson and how he showed up and pimped himself
I didn't
up.
even know. Like, when was he there?
During the article talked about how he was there during the dance party. So Friday?
Oh, so he was missing my Alt Expo talk.
Yeah, apparently.
What is he doing? Jeez.
He's walking around talking to people. I didn't see him. Who else? Oh, Adam Kokesh showed up too, but I did see him. And Darian thought it was Pete Air
Yeah,
as we were
No,
leaving.
because like we're driving by and like there's like a hill, and I just catch a glimpse of a ripped dude wearing gym shorts and like sunglasses with
And
short
short
hair.
hair.
It's like, all right, well, I guess
There's-
that's Pete.
There's at least 15 different people that could be.
No, not really. Not with the broad shoulders and stuff. We're behind Darian, and he like pulls over. He goes, "I'm gonna go say bye to Pete." Because I really didn't see him all week, and I'm like, "That's not Pete. That's Adam Kokesh," and he runs down the hill.
I didn't run down the hill.
Okay, you
I walked down the hill. It was a very steep hill, so it might have appeared that I was running, but I didn't get very close to him. Like I only went a few steps. I was like, that's not Pete, and I just kind of like started walking slower and like turning away and
As
like
if
looking off
nothing's
to the
happening.
distance to make it less awkward.
You should have just gone down and be like, "Oh my god, I'm your biggest fan."
I'd be like, Pete, what's up? You're like, what the hell? My name's not Pete.
Yes,
Who the hell are you?
It was pretty funny.
Should have run up and been like, "Hey, PJ! Oh no, you're that pro-government anarchist. Hey, how's it going?"
I mean, I would have talked with Kokesh if I had some time, but I didn't, so I didn't, and that's how it went. But this NPR article is like, it's interesting. They just kind of mentioned it and like they were there, but they didn't really seem to get it. They're just like, oh, well, this is going on. This guy's smoking weed. I don't know what's going on there, but so
Well, it was definitely a good time. I love the mix of people you get. Like I saw the Gary Johnson signs. I saw like some signs for some
you saw someone's Johnson. You
some
saw
signs,
Gary's Johnson
some signs for some Republicans and like Tea Partiers and
and Seth Cohn.
You see it. You want to hear a funny story about that? You know, our campsite was right across from his, right?
Yeah.
All right. So Sunday, I'm backing out, right? And I'm backing the big blue van out. And I think I do a good job backing out. And I start pulling down that road, and I hear like, And the guy who is next to us, I forget his name, but he like runs out and like flags me down. I'm like, oh. He like reaches under my back wheel well and he pulls out a sign. It's like Seth Cohen for Congress or Senator or whatever he's running
my
for.
God, that's awesome.
And he's like, you hit this. And I'm looking at him like, can you put it back for me? He's like, yeah. He puts it back in the ground. I'm like, all right, I will keep going. The best thing is the sign was right next to a big anarchist elect no one sign.
Yeah, so you got a variety of opinion.
You do. But I think it's getting almost like the real world where people lock themselves off according to faction. And this whole a lot of times people talk about the Free State Project as like libertarian Zionism, or the idea that you're going to move yourself away to one place that you'll call your home country. That kind of happens at PorcFest too. You have the compound of minarchists, and then you have the like crazy bullshit anarchist area, and then you have the the more left leaning anarchists. It's like getting kind of blocked up. It's kind of interesting.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's still pretty well mixed. I'm sure people of various interests go to things that are catering to their particular interests.
I saw some people who never came out of their tent complex. Like there's definitely a big chunk of people that seemed so worried that they were in the middle of a Fish concert that they were never gonna, leave their certain area.
All right. So I did an Alt Expo talk. You guys weren't there, but Tennyson was, and Tennyson's not here. So maybe we'll hold off on this until Tennyson gets here. That'll be something to tease you.
So
about.
We're never gonna do it,
right? We'll do it when he gets here in a month. So what else you guys want to say about PorcFest real quick before we maybe
move on to the? We want to take a break, then move on to the next segment.
Why don't we talk about this hover bike first?
Hover bike, okay.
So there's an article on Jalopnik about this engineer who's trying to make a hover bike after some kind of debate he was in about what an actual hover bike would look like. And what was it? It was like two industrial fans and like this motorcycle kind of thing. Is
in the middle. I mean, what interested me most about the way the bike looked is it seemed to be the kind of thing that had two stable states. One perfectly flat, and the other one 90 degrees to the side, right? Because of your gyroscopic forces, that's what you're going to achieve. So, yeah, I don't know if I'd want to ride that thing, because just having ridden a bike before, I can tell you that you definitely need to lean for turns and things like that. I'd be worried that I'm going to lean and boom, flip.
I don't know. Maybe it's you can't like tilt it that much. Maybe it just it turns with like airfoils or something. I don't know.
I don't know. If you think about it, that'd be kind of like turning a boat, and boats don't turn very well.
I don't know. Oh, we got a message from Tennyson. On my way.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah. So anyway, the hover bike. Did you see the video of it? The video of the
I did
test?
not. I did not.
They did this like smoke test type thing where they have it tied down. They look to see how the air reflects underneath it and all that different sort of stuff.
Huh. So he said that he hasn't flown it untethered yet, but he expects it to reach some like ridiculously high altitude. I mean, when I think of hover bikes, I think of things that are just, they're just a little bit above the ground. This thing was like an aircraft that you sat on like a motorcycle.
Well, if you're not worried about having to reflect anything off the ground to keep you in the air, then you could feasibly be as high as, the air density will take you. So your only limiting thing is the fact that the air up top is less dense than the air near the bottom. That's the only thing that's really limiting you. So you have this huge range of height. It'll be like a helicopter. Assuming that happens. I still think it's going to flip 90 degrees to the side and you'll die. And if you don't get chewed up by your own fan, which could be exciting too.
All right, so Bosco, you're volunteering to test this out, right?
No. I think somebody will fall backwards and go and spray all over the place.
Well, hopefully it'll be a dummy filled with watermelons, so it'll be funny.
That could be, definitely.
Why wouldn't it be funny if it was an actual driver?
That's a good question. I don't think we're gonna talk about it right now, though. This kind of reminds me of this rickshaw device that was at PorcFest.
That thing, it didn't get used very much.
Yeah,
dude, I lost the pin.
Really?
Yeah. So the little pin that holds the back thing on that you screw it in with on the hitch. I was driving around after like spending a little bit too much time at the Fix Brewing tent. not driving around, biking around, right? So I'm like going around on my bike really fast and stuff, and I ended up losing the pin to the back. I didn't secure it in place, and then it left.
I don't think after the couple demonstrations you gave of the rickshaw, I'm not confident that you would have been giving many people rides.
I could do about 2 a day.
It was like basically
Of
there's this
children?
trailer attached to Ryan's bike, and
Right.
it had a camp chair bolted down to it. So he gave me a ride, and it was a lot of fun for me. And then we turn around, and he starts having to go up the hill. He's like, "Oh God, you're heavy." Ah.
Dude, going up the hill is tough.
That-
You had trouble just with the cart.
Yeah, well, I was when it was time to leave the fixed brewing tent for the night. I mean, I hadn't imbibed very much, but I'm like, I'm gonna ride this thing back, and that's of course at the bottom of the hill. So I'm going, and I'm wearing my giant hiking boots that like I'm trying to get used to for more hiking over the summer, and I'm like getting this thing going. It's like holy crap, and then my girlfriend sits on the back. And then I just like can't even get it started. Like I just like try to pedal and I just like fall off. So then like I pedal to the top of to like the midpoint of the hill where it gets a little flatter, and then she got on. And then like I was pedaling back. I was like, oh, this is really hard. And so I stopped it at in front of your campsite, and I carefully put your bike's kickstand down. Make sure nothing happened. And then I noticed the trailer was kind of at an angle on the hill, so it would roll down the hill kind of easily. And instead of just putting something behind the wheel to prevent it from rolling, I did the brilliant thing and picked up the back of the trailer and turned it, which made your whole bike fall over. And then the trailer fell over. And then the seat on the back just collapsed. I was like, well, that didn't work out as planned.
Yeah, so that didn't get much use. The one person that I did want to give a ride in it, I was all excited too because they came over and I hadn't seen them in a long time. And I was like, yeah, how are you doing? You got a kid now. I was like, oh, look at this thing. I'm like, oh, I got to take you for a ride. And I'm like, oh, I lost the pin. That stinks.
You should have just 3D printed another pin.
Yeah, it wouldn't be strong enough.
Just take a screwdriver and jam it in there.
That would have done it. Yep.
Yep.
You can't see Bile nodding very knowingly, and Ryan.
Yeah, that would have done it.
All right. So I think we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to get into some of our Alt Expo talks. We're going to talk about maybe Independence Day a little, this holiday that's coming up. Talk about more Pork Fest, some LulzSec activity, and more bombast. So stay tuned for more ThinkingLiberty.net.
And when
And we're back on Thinking Liberty, the best podcast on your pod.
Cast.
So we had a lot of great discussions at PorkFest, and one thing that people are telling us is, the stuff you talk about is interesting, your theories and strategies and your guests, but I really like just hearing the stories of what you guys get into. Particularly Bosco was mentioned.
The exact comments I got for some people were, I really like that show where you talked about how you almost killed yourself in the woods. That seems to be like people's favorite. They're like, Ludwig von what? No. More death in the woods. Do stupid things.
So we're going to have more death in the woods to generate material for this show.
Oh, we also had Tennyson just walk in.
We did just have Tennyson walk in. He's setting up his location. I think he's going to get out his Apple device, and he's putting it on the table there. So,
he's putting up his little banner that says Tennyson that he sits behind at all times.
All right. So while he's doing that, why don't you tell us a story, Bosco?
It's just like story time for kids or something awful like that. All right. Well, so you guys already know already. We were at PorkFest. Let's just say I was at the Fixed Brewing tent and I was not in a typical state of mind. And so I'm kind of sitting there stuck to my chair, right, staring off into the distance. And
to the nether.
People are talking. And somebody says, yeah, Garrett's here. And Garrett's talking to some people. And they say, yeah, that's Bosco sitting over there. So he comes by to say hi. And I'm thinking to myself, this is what's going through my head. I'm like, oh, this guy listens to the show. He's awesome. He's got the rep rap thing going on. I've watched a little bit of his Alt Expo presentation before my dog got too loud and I had to leave. I was like, neat guy, all sorts of awesome stuff we could talk about. Really looking forward to talking to this guy. So he comes over to talk to me and he's like, hey, are you Bosco? And my intelligent response is, yeah. And he's like, oh, okay, yeah, I know you from Thinking Liberty. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, wow, this is going really, really well. Your intellect is really cranking up there in your head with the brain cells you've got left. And so then there was a little bit of awkward, like, oh, okay, well, keep up the good work. I'll see you later. Meanwhile, I go, yeah. So I'm like, yeah, that didn't go as well as it probably could have, that particular meeting.
Wow,
But-
that sounds like just like the quality of your contributions to the show. Yeah.
Which is none. But yeah, so yeah. So what happened was later on things started getting a little bit too busy for me at that tent. I'm like, oh, there's too many people around here. It's like I should probably go to bed. I'm like, this is the good course of action in this situation, be to go to bed because the people are kind of freaking me out and there's a lot going on. So I decided I'm going to walk back to bed. So I start walking, and the other side of the campground is pitch black, and there's absolutely nothing going on. So I go from the super, super busy scene where everybody's doing stuff, people are buying drinks, all that sort of stuff, to the other side of the campground where it's pitch black. People are randomly passing me who don't have flashlights, so they just seem to appear out of nowhere. I can just hear the tail ends of people's conversations, and the trees are overhanging me and looking like they're getting ready to choke me. So, it's I don't know if I made the right decision. I might have been better off just staying stuck to that chair, but for some reason I chose to walk back to the campsite, and it was a interesting walk.
You should have utilized the buddy system and had someone hold your hands and illuminate the way with a flashlight.
I could have used that. Actually, I'm pretty sure, I think Free Aid bailed some people out at the end of that particular night, too. I was telling Megatron that I was actually thinking about maybe just stopping in the path and going to sleep there, because that seemed like a reasonable idea. And the only thing that kept me from just sitting down in the path, leaning against the tree and going to sleep is the fact that I wasn't wearing my poncho and it might have rained. Now, granted, my poncho was in the pocket of the sweatshirt I was wearing, so I could have just put it on. But no, if you're going to bother putting it on, you might as well walk all the way to the campsite. It just makes perfect sense.
Makes perfect sense. So we got Tennyson here. We also had Laura walk through the door. So maybe she'll get on a mic later on.
It was a coincidence. Total coincidence.
So do you have any fun PorkFest stories there, Darren?
No, just a lot of boring stuff.
Yeah, I feel like I might have had one of the more boring pork fests out there. I mean, I don't get inebriated or anything like that, but how much more do I have to talk into this thing? Because it's kind of low. I can hear it in my headphones.
Darian's also like screaming into his mic.
Till it's loud.
That's kind of what Darian does anyway. But yeah. So I happen to have Pete Air, as we were just talking about earlier, had a birthday while he was
the
up there.
actual Pete Air.
The real Pete Air, who doesn't wear a shirt frequently, and so he had his birthday.
See, I couldn't see his tattoos from where it was either, and I hadn't seen him for a while. So
I know. I heard
yeah.
that you pranced down a hill and then you were looking for.
Yeah, I had my arms outstretched and everything, and
Pranced.
I started like,
I know.
yeah.
And
But
he's
go
wearing
on.
bloomers. Anyway,
Yes. So rippling shoulders and all that other stuff. Oh, wait, it got turned up. That's good. So it was Pete's birthday, and apparently someone had brought a baked treat. There was it was chocolate, and there might have been something special inside that chocolate. And so I had the brownie, and wow. Now, it didn't kick in at first. It's like, okay, that's just regular. It's like, all right, it's fine. There wasn't anything in this. And then, I was off with Mike Finger. I don't know if you guys know Mike Finger at all.
no.
All right, Mike Finger and his wife, they live in the city. They're moving up to New Hampshire, actually. Great folks. So I'm talking to Vanessa Finger, and, I was walking down the hill towards, where my campsite is, or to where Baron von Daren and Rebecca Heiss are. It's for some reason, I'm not thinking right. And in the middle of a conversation, I say something completely inappropriate. And I'm like, wait a minute. What is happening here?
Dude, this is awesome. Like, this sounds like something that would be in, I don't know, you'd see in some old documentary or something. And then I tried the brownie,
I know.
and strange things started happening.
It was someone's writing on the, the thing. Yeah, I took pictures of the wedding there. It was a very good wedding. That was beautiful. But yeah, I was talking, and then all of a sudden, it seemed like I was talking there for, instead of a few seconds, like minutes, just whole minutes were going by, and then I have to try and recover because I think, wait a minute, why is this taking so many minutes? And I'm still like, wait, and then
Where did the minutes go?
I know. Then for some reason, there's a little bit of a blackout, and then it just comes back in with like a flash, but not really a flash. It's more like it kind of descends into a bit of tunnel of darkness, and then it comes back up in a bloom of light, and then there was more. Then the time just continued going on and on and on and on and on forever. I felt like that kid who came back from the dentist, the YouTube video where he's really high from the Novocaine the dentist gave him, and he's asking, "Is this going to be forever?" And that's exactly how I felt. I felt like it was going to go on forever. I felt like I was sitting on a hill talking to Angela Aronoff for months. Just months were going by.
See, you can tell you don't have that like steely stoner resolve yet, where you're
Yeah.
just like, well, this is how it's gonna be. Guess I'm gonna sit in this chair.
So, no.
Only way to not say stupid things is to not open my mouth.
Exactly. So that's what I kind of did after a while. And then, I saw like, cooked up, discarded rabbit parts that were something, and they tasted pretty good, honestly. Then I walked around a little bit more. And
Wait,
then
you ate a rabbit?
No, I didn't eat the rabbit. Somebody else, killed the rabbit, and it was over at their campsite. I'll tell you about this later. The one pot cook-off.
I really want to see the pictures you took during this time.
Oh, yeah.
Like, are they
Hey, they
going
came
to be
out
all
pretty
like out of focus and at weird angles?
No, that's the cool thing about autofocus. It just focuses for you. So,
Oh,
I had the rabbit stew, by the way.
I did too, and I thought it should have won.
It was delicious.
I honestly thought that one should have won out of all the things that I tasted. And
What did win?
It was the chicken tortilla something or
Really?
something I didn't even eat. It was Gail Domenico's thing. So
Oh, okay, all right. I
Yeah.
thought the cheese had a good chance of winning.
the
too.
cheese was pretty good. I mean, I always rate them pretty highly, the Swiss things. But anyways, I'm just completely baked out of my mind. I'm walking around, and I told, I don't know who it was at the time because I can't even remember now, that I was standing somewhere and I was not where I was before. That's what I told them. I think I said those exact words.
Okay.
And so continued walking around, and there was some sort of panic about, maybe some police were there to check on alcohol sales, or someone had licenses to distribute alcohol, and there's people were just panicking, heading up to the Jazz Hall, formerly known as the Bingo Hall, now known as the Stone, or whoever's going to be there. And so there's just all these people afraid, and I hear this woman chanting, "Ron Paul, Ron Paul." And so then I go off, and I walk towards the...
did you see Ron Paul?
No, Ron
Descending from the heavens.
Ron Paul was not there to save us. And so I go
Imagine that.
I go to the Alt Expo, and I find Brad Spangler, and I tell Brad, like, I am so high right now, and I have no idea what I'm doing. So Brad gives me some good advice. He says, if you can't maintain, go home. And so that was good advice. And I walked back toward the tent carefully, trying to talk to no one, trying not to hit anything, and then get into the tent and get on that mattress, get inside the sleeping bag, and I slept from then till like 5 in the morning. And so that was basically the story. I thought that was going to be, that was the end. It's like, all right, fine. I'm wake up in a little bit in the middle of the night. I'm like, okay. And then I realized that I'm kind of still spinning, but it's not a dizzy spinning. It's more like the things are just not right.
Right.
And so I go back to sleep and I wake up at 5 a.m. and I was fine. It feels a little bit, but it's basically gone. And so then I walk off towards the pavilion. And I'm looking around for food or whatever it is. I don't know where I ended up getting food. I got something somewhere. And then it came back. And it went on and on and on. I was like, I could not take this. I was high until, Silver Circle thing ended up happening. And then, like 2 hours around there, then the high finally ended. And I told Drew, I said, yo, this thing lasted for 18 hours.
That's why you don't just grab copious amounts of whatever food is laying out in front of you.
It didn't seem like a lot. And then, this is not the first time I've been high. I've never been this high. It wasn't even like the slow high. It was before a vapor high. And it's like, okay, that hit pretty quickly, and then it went away in like 2 hours. I was like, okay, fine. And then this was entirely different. And I'm done. I am not.
Well, at least
Don't do drugs, kids.
Exactly.
at least you know that you're done now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I didn't have anything like that. I did, however, when I woke up the day after Pork Fest, I was wondering where I was because, I wasn't at Pork Fest.
I know.
I was like, why am I in this comfortable bed? And like,
Did you have
there's no water.
You have the
on
Pork
anything.
Fest withdrawal, like everybody else had the Pork Fest withdrawal.
Yeah.
Evan set up this thing that says like remembrance and withdrawal support for Pork Fest.
It's funny talking about the different things. I had stuff left over from Pork Fest, and I ended up yesterday. I was playing laser tag,
Oh, that's awesome.
and I was in a similar state as to yourself.
Okay.
And this guy comments on my shirt. He's like, "Oh, Fix Brewing, Pork Fest. Like, did you go to Pork Fest?" I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, I really need to talk to you then." It's like, I'm interested in a lot of the different stuff that goes on and blah, blah, blah.
Was it Garrett talking to you?
No. This is
Was it Ron Paul?
This is an actual guy like outside of Philly, right? That I've played with before. And he's like, "Yeah, I want to talk to you about all this stuff." And of course I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "So how would you describe yourself?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And after a while, I realized like this conversation just isn't working. It's like, how can this happen to me twice in 3 days?
What the hell?
Like, God,
Dude, like, when did this become a Cheech and Chong movie?
I don't know.
Oh, here, have a look at this.
Yeah.
This is the big crowd shot. This is just the women here, and this is not even anywhere near all the women. Just like Bile was saying, there were just so many women, so many girls here. It was it makes me hopeful, honestly, that it's actually moving towards equality, and it's not just sitting up being a bunch of it's a big guys club. It's not really a big guys club anymore. So it's more like everybody's invited, everybody's involved.
There we go. Now, if we could, just not only have middle-aged white people with beards, then we'd be set.
Yeah, well, then.
Whoa, one thing at a time.
Here, look at this. See? Huh? There you go.
Oh, there you go. All right.
So I get the microscope and I can spot that.
Spot one person who's black.
There you go. Well, actually, I can spot like 4, but
There's four.
yeah, I can count them specifically.
So, for those of you listening on our internet radio or podcast, Tennyson was just showing pictures to Bosco using his computer.
It's very exciting.
Yeah, people know what I'm talking about here. You could just feel it through the radio.
That's true. That's true.
All right. So, Thinking Liberty, the show that you can feel through the radio.
Yes.
Sometimes we feel you through the radio.
No,
We
that's
describe
that's just you.
pictures. That's just you.
Picture radio. So, as for that boring stuff that I was involved in, my Alt Expo talk went pretty well. Tennyson, you were there.
I was there. You were there for my talk, right?
Yeah, the transhumanism one.
That's right,
I think I missed like the first couple minutes, but
Yeah,
I
it's
was
okay.
there.
Yeah, I didn't really plan anything. I didn't do any kind of put together these ideas. It was just like okay, I'm going to think about this, and then if I talk about it enough, maybe I can lead into something else. And that was kind of how it went. It's going to be on YouTube if it's not already up there. And so you can follow the ramble that went on there for like 25 minutes in questioning.
Yeah, so it was about transhumanism, and I think you did a pretty good job of introducing it, explaining why it's a good thing, and responding to some of the questions that people had. So that should be online, I guess, at the Alt Expo website.
Yeah, it should be pretty good. I didn't even know Alt Expo had a website. What's the URL?
It's like altexpo.org, but I don't know if they have the videos on their site. It might be
Okay.
on the YouTube channel.
All right.
So, yeah, that was good. The rep rap talk at Alt Expo also very good. I guess it was more of a hacker space talk, and they did discuss rep rap. Basically talking about hacker spaces and how it's valuable to have these places where you have a lot of different tools and people sharing skills. One person was saying how they are trying to start one in Keene. He recently moved to Keene, and that's where he wants to focus his activism. And I think they're also trying to start one in Nashua. So if you're up in New Hampshire, you should check that out. And there's a lot of probably a lot of that stuff online if you want to check that out. So pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I only heard a little bit of that talk, and then I probably walked off to do something else.
photographing.
Yeah, I probably did some of that too. Gosh, but there were. I from the beginning said I didn't really want talks to be at PorkFest, and I kind of still am on that position because I don't think PorkFest is a thing where we need speakers to come. It is a party. It is a place that people get away. I want speakers to be at Liberty Forum. Speaking of which, Liberty Forum is going to be back on. This time it's supposedly not going to get canceled, after everybody's put in a bunch of work and then just just kind of tell you at the last second, oh yeah, it's also canceled.
Kind of not tell you at the last second, and you hear from
Yeah.
Facebook.
Yeah, that too. So
Well, that's interesting. I don't know. I like having talks. I think that's one thing I like about PorkFest is that there's so much to do. There's a lot of informal partying, and then there are like slightly more formal
The
forums.
formal parties where you've got to like dress up and stuff.
Right. If you're
Darian always gets bounced out of them. No, not for you. Change your hiking boots.
riffraff. Get out of here, you riffraff. But Alt Expo is good for that because there's a lot of kind of less formal talks. I basically tried to lead a discussion on some different ideas in anarchist theory and strategy, some tensions, some complementary ideas, and I got a lot of good feedback. I guess I talked for about 20, 30 minutes, and then the rest of the time was kind of a give and take. Different members of the audience. So it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I certainly learned a lot from speaking with people, and I think other people learned a lot. And it was a cool time. I'm going to actually write up that talk for my Alliance Journal submission
okay.
for the next Alliance Journal, which if James is still in the chat or listening, that's why it's going to be a little after July 1st, because I wanted to do something based on this talk, see how these ideas went over. So, it should be good.
I like there's a good comment in the chat room. Roundtables and summits seem good. I agree. I mean, I really think the idea of having one person speak as like a speaker, I think it's kind of met its historical end. You don't really convey a lot of information that way. There's not a lot of retention on the other side. So the idea of anything that's going to be centered around necessarily talks as opposed to interactivity, I think, is going to end up going away. So
I don't know. I think lectures are valuable, but I kind of like the format I did this time.
Yeah. No.
No.
you're not going to weigh in.
Yeah, you're not going to be seeing me shake my head on the radio, but I am. So
But we could describe it. Tennyson is now shaking his head while looking at the computer, and
know.
now at me.
Here, do you want to see what I'm looking at in the computer?
He's.
Try to figure out what's going to happen in this.
I see a lot of glare.
Are you about
and,
to get flashed? I see some
yeah.
hands under a top.
Yes.
And... Okay. I'd also like to point out that when I arrived at Forkfest, I did not meet a sober person for like 10 minutes.
It's great.
Just like to say that. It's just...
Oh, yeah. I got there like 2 a.m. on Friday, So we're like trying to make sure we're in the right spot because last year we set up in the wrong spot and had to move. And I'm like, yeah, I think this is good. And we're like talking very quietly, trying not to wake up anyone. And we set up our tent, and then it was good. We were in the right spot. We weren't in anyone's way, and we didn't even wake anybody up.
You woke me up. But
Really?
you're very, very considerate. You're a lot quieter this year than you were last year.
Oh, that's nice.
The headlights kind of. I heard the car come up and the headlights went right into the tent, and I thought I was going to die.
And the pissing on the tent. Like when
that
Darian
was
pees on the
pissing
tent.
on the tent. You should really tell your lady friend not to do that again.
Okay. Well, all right. I'll tell. I mean, you got to be civilized and open up the tent and go inside. You
Well,
don't
that's
wanna-
why Megatron's tent was to the right of us, so you could piss on that tent.
Oh, is that why it was all full of water? And she
That's
slept
why.
in the
That's
car.
why she slept in the car.
Oh gosh, Jack said something. Says, "I think Bosco killed the single speaker talk last year." I don't. What did you talk about?
I talked about hydroponics. Actually, if you're
That's
interested,
what it was.
you can get that on the Alt Expo DVD.
There's a DVD. Mm-hmm. Wow.
It
DVD.
looks really nice too.
Fancy.
It's all nicely set up.
You know, it's another cool Alt Expo talk. Did the permaculture talk? You know, I didn't really know.
It was at Saturday, right? I didn't see that.
Yeah, I didn't really know a whole lot about permaculture. I heard that it was a good thing, so I was interested in. It's kind of like almost like forest gardening. Like you set up an ecosystem.
Oh, okay. It's
and,
not about the culture of perms.
Right.
Okay.
And the people who are doing this talk were like so enthusiastic and just in love with the topic that it was awesome. Like you could tell they were so into it. I had a lot of good chats with some other people I met at the Alt Expo. So I guess that was where I spent a lot of time. I also spent a lot of time hanging out at Fix Brewing, and I took an accidental nap that lasted through most of the group
Were
photo.
you hanging out with Tennyson? Because he does
No,
that.
I was not.
Yeah, I'm looking at pictures of two girls going at it here that I happened to take a picture of. So,
There's two very different levels of Porkfest that are being discussed here. Poor Darian is over here. He's like, I was talking about the history of anarchism, and I started with the and Tennyson's like, dude, these girls are making out. Yeah, look at this picture.
I know. I'm sorry.
I had these brownies, and I woke up in the bottom of a drained swimming pool, and it wasn't even Rogers Campground.
The way I felt all week, I wish I could say I had brownies. I was dizzy all week except for Saturday and Sunday. Because we set up the tent, and we laid the... I didn't realize this was the problem until Amy had come up and said, well, how are you sleeping? I'm dizzy all week, and walking around an uneven campsite, kind of contributed to it. But I was sleeping my feet above my head on a slant, and I didn't notice that would have a negative effect on my equilibrium. So I couldn't even drink as much as I want. I drank like Monday and Tuesday, and I made myself drink like Saturday night. But it was pretty bad.
See, Bile didn't have anything to say about it because he sleeps hanging from his feet like a bat.
He does. So and he had said like, I don't understand what you're talking about. I'm fine. So.
It was kind of amusing to hear about what happened to Megatron because she's like, yeah, it rained and this happened and that happened. I'm like, yeah, you really don't know how to camp in the rain, do you? She's like, I don't know how to camp. I'm like, no, you just proved that you don't know how to camp in the rain.
I offered that she could sleep with us, but she turned that down almost before I could finish the question. She said, no.
That's good to know.
Oh,
There was a lot of room in there because Bile doesn't take up a lot of space anyway. So
True.
we could definitely like a 4-person tent's definitely like a 6-person tent when he's in there.
so he's not a roller when he sleeps. Like he's just gonna twist to the left and right.
He doesn't really move. Every once in a while, he does this weird thing where either he sleeps with his eyes open, which is really creepy because then I start talking to him. And he doesn't answer me. He doesn't do that when he's awake anyway, but it's really kind of strange. And then when he kind of sleeps and he lifts his leg up. So it looks like he's kind of like relaxing. And again, I'll talk to him and he doesn't answer.
It looks like he's relaxing, but Bile never relaxes.
No.
He's like Rust. Doesn't even sleep. Yeah.
It's sleep. My
Well,
favorite.
I had the pleasurable company of a lovely lady, so I was good.
How
for
much did that
Porkfest.
cost you?
Not very much.
Oh, also wanted to say happy birthday to the people who had birthdays during Porkfest. So
Yes, that would be Megatron.
that would
yeah.
be Meg for one. That's Pete and John King. I think there are probably some other birthdays that were there as well. So John was doing humanitarian work while he was up there. So
Okay.
so I gotta shout out to John King.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right. I think
I'm
my
not gonna
favorite
explain that.
my favorite bile sleeping arrangement had to be when we were in college, and I was avoiding my roommate, so I decided to go down and sleep in his room because his roommate was never there. And we had the mattresses on top of springs, and it was set up as like a bunk bed type thing. So the top one didn't have a mattress. So I was just sleeping on top of these bed springs. So Bile got to wake up to my fat butt, like laying on top of springs, like all pressed against the springs, probably almost drooling on him. Like, yeah, face planted against the
Drooling
springs
from your ass.
every morning.
And now he wakes up to mine.
And, and the bed is the same way. I sleep on bed springs.
Oh, here's a shot of Star Child wearing whatever Star Child was wearing during the big gay dance party. Yeah, I'm going to move on from that, though.
Maybe you should like put links to these
That
on
was
our
probably
Facebook
like
page.
the best moment was seeing
You like
Star
that?
Child.
He's amazing.
It kind of makes me uncomfortable when guys look better in like lingerie than I do. He just looked really good.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's a really, really good dancer. Apparently, what he must have had years of practice doing just this for this environment.
Probably. I mean, he's a little flat.
For this environment,
He's a little flat in the butt, but I was okay with that. It
You
looked
can get
alright.
implants.
No, you could.
Why are we talking about pinball machines in the chat room?
Pinball
Don't get me
machines?
wrong. I love pinball machines.
Yeah.
I own a pinball machine, but why are we talking about pinball machines?
I think you should talk more about pinball machines, actually.
Pinball machines are
Pinball.
great because they break all the time and because every different one is different and plays differently. It's much more organic and feeling than if you play a regular arcade cabinet. You know, at the same time, it makes it harder to obtain a level of skill because everything's different. So you might be really good on one type of pinball machine and not so good at the exact same one in a different location.
Well, that's interesting. Someone says we should have a pinball match at Porkfest next year.
Darren pinball machine versus a Star Child pinball machine.
If we can make custom pins, wow. Then we
If you can get Darren to wear what Starchild was wearing, wow.
Speaking of Darren, you know what I really liked was Dragon Rady, his bike. That bike was right up my line. Anybody
It
else?
was a pretty
get good
sweet
look at it?
bike. I'm not gonna
Like
lie.
I dig the flat black, whatever was going on with the handlebars there. They're chopped like real hard back at the top.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I took some pictures of that.
Yeah, I really like that bike. I like the design, like everything's set up. I was like, I thought I was the only person who really liked this post-apocalyptic style, taste in bikes, but apparently not.
Apparently
And for
not.
what is a relatively, small engine nowadays too.
He could ride Dragon Radiant Starchild's outfit. Good.
Oh, something else that happened at Porkfest that I was wondering about is that I've been to the last 4 Porkfests now. So I've been there at Gunstock Acres. I've been there here at Rogers now. And the people that I knew at the beginning of the 4 years ago, back in like 2008, I'm kind of worried about them now. Because they kind of section themselves off in their own little area where they kind of do every year.
We were
but-
just talking about that.
I know. I heard a little bit of it, and then it stopped playing so much. But yeah, I heard from it's one of the people I just showed in the picture that she says that she might not come back next year, and that makes me sad because these are the people who introduced me to Porkfest. Now I feel like am I sort of responsible for making them leave Porkfest because who knows the kind of people that decided to come as a result of other people coming and more people inviting other people and then seeing things they saw at Porkfest and bringing other people who they think might match that image. And then all of a sudden it became a big party. And then they became very uncomfortable with people partying till 12 o'clock every single day or 4 o'clock in the morning every day, weekdays. And I don't know what to think about that. Ross, the guy comes over from Scotland every year with his mother with Porkfest. His mother stayed inside pretty much the entire time in their motel room. She said she was actually kind of afraid of some of the people there, and I didn't know what to tell her. I felt terrible. like
Well, that's unfortunate. I mean, I feel like it's definitely a loud and boisterous and somewhat in your face atmosphere, but I feel like people there are very friendly and it's safe to express yourself in different ways. But I don't know. I mean, I guess it's just I don't even really think it's all that wild. I mean, it's people are partying, and they're partying all night. But as you can tell by what I was talking about, I'm a dork, and I was all right with that.
And I kind of went to bed, I think, around like 10:30 a few nights. So I guess it
Yeah, me
depends.
too.
I think in any type of group situation, you're going to have either a bunch of loud people or people that like to keep it quiet. And it's going to faction off. I mean, that's just how it goes.
Trust me, it got really quiet on that one side of the campground. 'Cause like I said, I was,
Which site?
oh, where we were staying.
I mean,
Oh,
maybe
where we were?
Yeah, when I
you were up
walked,
in the
pretty
back.
quiet.
Right? You were up
yeah,
in
when
the-
I walked from Fix Brewing to where we were, it was like dead quiet, like creepy quiet.
maybe that's actually good to have like noise zones.
But
Did
didn't
they
they do
try
that?
that to
They
do that one
somebody
that
said in the
last year,
chat room
I
they
thought.
had
put
a noise map.
They have a noise map. They had it in
Yeah.
2010. They have it again this year. So
Okay,
it's,
maybe they should
yeah,
like
loud and not loud. That's what it was.
maybe
I
they
don't-
should like put that more prominently, like just to remind people.
don't think
because I think
noise
people are
is-
courteous enough. They would respect that
They
if they were
would,
aware
but
of
noise isn't the issue. I think you've got people who don't want to see people walking around in thongs, and you got people who don't want to see people walking around like this or looking strange at all. So you've got groups of people who are scared to come out because there's
Yes.
other people who look very, very different out there. And it's a culture clash.
So how
So we
exactly
ha-
do you go about coming to a resolution of this where they don't have to leave?
Well, we all ride in circles on our motorcycles with big red mohawks and throw chains at people who.
Okay, see, motorcycles, mohawks, and chains, exactly what the people we're talking about are afraid of.
Gypsies, tramps, thieves, all these things. They can't have them anymore.
They
Yeah,
can't have them anymore.
man, pretty soon you can get rid of the Thunderdome. Then how are we gonna resolve disputes?
Oh, no. Don't take that.
No,
away.
but let's be serious. So I don't know. What do you guys think about this?
I think you got to look at. I think as the movement becomes bigger and bigger, and you got more people involved in it, it gets harder and harder to cross that gap between.
Yes.
You got a group of people who, that they tend to be normal by comparison, right? Like
Yeah, the NBC.
Yeah,
group,
you got a group of people who tend to be pretty average people, and then other people who just positively refuse to conform to anything. And there's very few people who can walk in both of those circles. I think if both those circles can recognize each other's right to exist, then that's a step in the right direction. You might want to look at having different vibes at different events.
Now, I wonder what the people who came there for quietness, that they also paid for their Porkfest experience, would think when they all of a sudden start saying that they aren't going to come back. Then, like they might say that they have a right to complain because, of course, they paid for this, and this event would not have gone on without their small contribution, I suppose. And I don't know how you even begin to come to a resolution to this when I think that this is going to be what Porkfest is going to be like for ever, and it's going to be unfortunate to not have those people.
See, it changes though. I think like groups of people definitely change. I know amongst my own friends, amongst people I
Right.
saw at Porkfest, once you start throwing like kids and stuff in the mix, then people start, they're not hanging out as long as they can't because they've got things to do. They're not coming out as early in the morning, things like that. So people may not be as involved in the partying scene, in which case it kind of begs the question, well, then what do you necessarily want to do at Porkfest?
Right.
If it's moving towards that type of a thing, then maybe we should look to trying to meet needs of other groups of people with other events and things like that too.
Yeah, this is what made me think of a third New Hampshire event that would go on throughout the year. Maybe not a camping trip, but it would be something that at least goes on, and it's not dedicated to a orgy.
the alt sexpo.
The alt sexpo. Yeah, I don't know what kind of alt sex
The-
you're
the
having.
alt
I'd rather have
sexpo-
regular sexpo.
That was, 2 years ago at Liberty Forum? The Old Sexpo? And
The Alt Expo. Rhubarb
that was-
pie.
Yes, the rhubarb pie. And the tantric sex. It was
Bebop,
very,
bebop,
ve-
rhubarb
it was
pie.
a very odd experience in the elevator and in the hallway after that. But only I had it, so I don't think anyone really believes
Well,
me.
why
that it
don't you
happened.
describe it?
Wait, were you there with me at the time? Okay. We were in an elevator at one point, and somebody from, I think, the old, I never saw him again, but he was in the elevator with us, and he was holding this rhubarb pie, and he kind of like leans over kind of slyly, and he's like, rhubarb pie? I was like, well, not today. And he goes, so are you into the tantric? I was like, oh, how do I answer this? Like, what's the right answer here?
No.
And, then the doors open up. I know. Well, I don't like to make people upset. So I was like, maybe, I don't know. The doors opened up and he kind of ran down the hallway with the pie, and I never saw him again at any other event.
Okay.
All right. So we have, some comments in the chat room I want to get to. Anarcho Tom comment, I don't see now, but something like, as the movement gets bigger, different events will cater to different crowds. And we also have Ren fairs have different crowds than Disneyland.
Read Joseph's.
We have Joseph's. Should PorcFest be an example of libertarianism in practice? And if so, are we really just about partying?
Good question.
I think it should be a party that does include examples of libertarianism in practice because
Right.
the party is something that draws people, and it's all right to party, and people are good at relating to each other and networking and just getting refreshed for more activity from partying with
Yes.
people they like. On the other hand, I do like having those alternatives available. And I mean, when it comes down to it, I mean, I'm a fairly straight shooting, sober guy, and it doesn't bother me when people are behaving differently. It's them expressing themselves, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't think the people who are complaining about expression per se, but I also think that the people who are partying just because that's the expression of libertarianism. I think they're partying because it happens in contrast to a background of outside statism. So they're actually out there free for a little bit, and it all comes to a head in this kind of concentrated exuberance. And it probably wouldn't happen that way had they've been free the entire time. So no, I don't think that this is just what libertarianism is about. just the wild partying.
Yeah.
So I don't think that could be. It's something to think about, but it's. I don't really know. I've been trying to figure out how to solve this problem.
I mean, the way I kind of feel like it is a party, but within that atmosphere, you can find examples of libertarianism, and you can also just not necessarily about a libertarian society day to day, but in this atmosphere, you can see people interacting peaceably without coercion, and I think that's a powerful thing. That even when they're just getting together to have a good time, we don't need cops. We don't need to call 911. We're setting up our own place. So it's it's good. This person, Joseph, in the chat room, he's saying that he's fine with that, but he doesn't think it should be advertised as an example of libertarianism, and says, I just fear that people looking from the outside will see just a party, but the rhetoric is that it's an example of anarchy in practice. So I think that is something to be conscious of, but
it's certainly not the totality of PorcFest. I say is the example of anarchy or libertarianism in practice. It's really more like what's going on in Agra Valley. I mean, the other thing I say is also probably a part of anarchy in practice, but I don't think that. No, that's the entirety of it, and I think that the combination of that and Agra Valley is not everything. I think it's mostly Agra Valley, and some of that. That other bit might be a bit excessive, though.
I'd like to see something more, I guess, works centered, to borrow a ministry phrase, but
Okay.
we've got all these things, and I mentioned multiple times that I think hearing somebody talk is dead. It's a dead way of getting information across.
Yeah.
I think partying definitely has its place, and I certainly like to cut loose, especially because it's the end of the work cycle for me. What I'd like to see is like a anarchism works type summit where something is built, created, or some end met, and I don't mean a document. Like
mean
if we get together and
Something
write
like Burning Man.
well, no, not even like that. But if we
Okay.
get together and write one more document, I swear it will be the end. I mean,
end of the state. Just one more document.
get together. Yeah, if we get together and talk or write a document, either one of those things, I'll scream. But how about get together and build housing for people who can't afford housing?
Like
right?
a house building
Or-
party or a
Exactly.
squatting party or a
Exactly. Or get together and reclaim an area of land, or get together
Garden
and start
party.
a community garden, or get together and feed people. Get together and do something. Get together and build a mutual aid society that can help XYZ certain people. I think that would be the thing that you'd really want to point to and be like, okay, this is what anarchism is. This is where it's going. And, make it something positive, fun, and something tangible that gets accomplished by the time the thing is over.
It sounds like a good idea. Unfortunately, I don't have time to organize something like that, but I would assist if other people do. So that would be a cool thing to do, I think.
Have you seen the? I don't know how many people have joined onto it so far. This movement to basically take ownership of PorkFest rather than depending on
I
the
saw
FSP.
that. Yeah.
So
I don't know.
I think that would probably be something like the beginning of it, where people realize that this is something that they can really do something with. They have a bit of a stake in it. They are the ones who really own it. It's not a big put up by the FSP or PorkFest organization or whatever it is. It's us coming together for this specific thing.
Well, see, then if you're going to do that, it shouldn't be at Rogers because the PorkFest attendees don't own Rogers Campground. Rogers Campground owns Rogers Campground, and it's
Right.
easier for them to deal with a limited set of people and have certain defined things. I think it would be awesome actually to not do PorkFest at Rogers Campground and do it in a
Me too.
huge field.
I think we should move it to Grafton, but I don't think it's big enough for that yet.
I think that would be awesome, and then you could have
Right.
A PorkFest of
You got
that would be
a
combination
self-organized.
Burning Pork. That would be Burning Pork.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got Burning Park at Hoyt this weekend. So what I would like to see, if we're talking about Grafton, I would like to see us get 100 people together, a road grader and a bunch of chainsaws,
Right.
and do a year's worth of road maintenance in a week.
Yeah, so
Like, just grade all the roads,
did
cut
they
back all the
actually-
trees.
Actually, start building roads over there at the Grafton area that you went to.
Did they start building roads?
Yeah,
No,
like-
not that I saw.
I thought that last because I remember your trip to Grafton. You said something about a road
They were,
machine. So
they were looking at maintaining them.
Yeah.
The issue is like a grader. If you've ever seen one, it's got
Yeah.
this big blade basically in the middle, so it's a specialty tractor, so it's pretty expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But if you could pick up and somehow take over that road maintenance, if you could get the initial capital to do that,
Right.
then I think that would have a big effect.
So you're saying that we should steal construction equipment and use it to wreck the state's roads?
Well, I mean, the state stole in order to make that construction equipment in the first place. We
I
take
own
it
that
back.
construction equipment.
You see an ambulance out there, you just take it.
I take fire hydrants every day. I don't know what's wrong with you guys.
I take pisses on fire hydrants every day.
Darian is a dog.
I don't actually do that. I mean, I'm assuming you don't actually take fire hydrants either.
I
so-
do not actually take fire
Okay,
hydrants
that's
now.
That's good.
But yeah,
there is something to be said for safety, even if it means somewhat respecting the state in certain areas. Like, yeah, if they have a fire hydrant, I'm not going to take their fire hydrant.
That's very nice of you.
I have my limits.
But yeah, I'd like to see something oriented towards getting something done.
Getting
Okay.
something done.
Yeah, that's. I'm telling you, one more talk, one more document, it'll be the end of me.
You're
If somebody gives a talk about writing documents, it'll be over.
You're some pie in the sky optimist idealist getting things done. What are you talking about? Dude?
This from the guy who was glued in his chair at PorkFest, having conversations with people like, yeah,
Yeah.
so you think we should fix the roads in Grafton? Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk more action.
It's like, hey, have you heard of that Thinking Liberty show? Like, you're on that one, right? Let's tell me what's going on.
Yeah.
See, I think the lesson here is that we're actually all assholes to our fans in person.
Wait,
like, we
how-
think that we're better than you, so we're just not going to respond.
Do people come up to you and ask you, like, they told you that, dude, listen to the show? But did you experience this?
Yes.
I was amazed. It trips me out every time that I this happens to me. Like at Students for Liberty conference, I think it might happen at CPAC too, and then here it's like, wow, there's people who actually listen to this show. And
I
then
loved it.
I kind of suspect that they're government plants. That's what I do at first. It's like someone put you up to this. Someone paid you to do this. But no, I think that they're genuine. Now I'm convinced that they're probably genuine.
Yeah, and I really liked hearing people say that they listened to the show and they liked it. You know, it makes me want to do it more when people say these things. Oh, wow. People actually like what I'm doing.
Yeah, people are listening to the show, whatever the hell this is, man.
Or they're just listening in the first place.
Yeah.
The problem I'm having with Julian Heiklin's show right now is that we're not actually sure anyone's paying attention. And I spend more effort on his show, and it's a shorter show than I do with this one, so we're probably going to cancel
A
it.
bunch of people know Julian Heiklin. I don't know about know the show, but they know of Heiklin. I'm
Oh,
sure that
God.
he mentions.
Yeah,
the
he
show.
took off his sweater at
for those who-
party, right?
Yeah, I got
when
plenty
when the
of pictures
sweater
of Julian.
comes off, it's
For
on.
For those who missed it, Julian Heiklin was at PorkFest, and he attended the gay
Yeah, the big gay.
big gay party.
Yeah.
and he's what 79.
Yep.
And he got up on a box and started like taking off his cardigan or whatever it was, and like twirling it in the air and dancing.
That
to music.
red sweater that he wears in all
Yeah.
the pictures of him getting
All the
And
arrested.
then
time.
he threw. I think it was. I forget her name, but I think she's dating Mark Warden.
Mark
he was
Warden?
he was dancing. He was dancing with her for quite a while,
Wait.
and then like two young women got up and started putting like dollar bills in Julian's trousers, and he started like pulling up his trousers, whatever the hell they were, his pants. And showing off his ankles and twisting around. It was kind of creepy and kind of
gosh.
awesome at the same time.
Showing
to see
off
a man
the
of that
ankles.
age.
I am very upset that I missed that. I think I walked up.
I got
with
some pictures. You'll
Megatron.
see.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
I walked up with Megatron. I think to go to the tent, to drop off some stuff, and I had come back, and I think Garland or someone or I don't know, Bridget. Bridget came up to me and said, Julian was just up on the box and he was dancing, and I was very upset that I had missed it. And I got in there and he was still dancing. I saw him dancing, but to see him on the box.
For those of you interested, by the way, the website for his podcast is tyrannyfighters.com.
Yeah.
Not tranny fighters.
Not
That's
tranny
totally
fighters.
different. tyrannyfighters.com. I actually saw him. I was riding in the van on the way out from the motel after I picked up my friends, and I saw him and I was like, "Hey, Julian, it's great to see you out, and I want to thank you for everything you're doing." And then he proceeded to go on this like 15-minute talk about like tyranny and stuff. But I was like, all right,
anything.
goodbye. Like one of those like pulling away while somebody's hands are still on your window kind of like goodbyes. Like,
Shut off the mic. Yeah, he's like that, but he's good times. And I was outside of the tent when he started dancing, and like 2 or 3 people ran out and grabbed me. They're like, "Your guy Julian's dancing with the ladies," and like
You
pulled
gotta
me in
see
there.
this.
And I didn't get any footage. I didn't have a camera on me.
I don't think I took
Surprisingly.
any video of it, and I probably left before
There
he
certainly
got, before he
are.
got on the box, but other people got
There certainly is video, and I'm waiting for it to come out. I put that right up on his website.
Oh, I got a picture here of Angela Keaton with a mustache.
I didn't even know she was there.
I know, she kept it real quiet.
Yep.
She was incognito, obviously wearing a mustache.
Yeah, she didn't.
No one-
People expected her to be on stage at the end, so she didn't come to that either. I think that she's trying to stay away.
Into the mic.
Oh, she's trying to stay away. I don't know whether
That's
it's
better.
true
Bum,
or
bum,
not.
bum.
Yeah, but she might just know that she is going to have too much fun at Porkfest, so she's gonna I should probably stay away. She was
Limit the
actually.
fun.
I hear that she was actually in New Hampshire for most of the time Porkfest was on the whole week, but she only came up like right around this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all the people I saw, it was great seeing them. People I was meeting for the first time, people who I knew from the internet, who I was meeting personally the first time, and old friends too. So, very good time. I think we're gonna take a break, and when we come back, we're gonna talk about LulzSec and upcoming holidays. So, stay tuned for more ThinkingLiberty.net.
Time to breathe again.
And we're back on thinkingliberty.net, the show that touches you appropriately.
You got to grip on that mic like a monkey who's about to kill someone with a bone. Like it is intense. Your one knuckle is like you're up, and you're ready to go. Veins are like popping out of your arm.
Did you touch the monolith? Is that what happens here?
Touch the monolith, and then
He went.
shit
smashes
gets real.
He went to the bathroom and touched the monolith.
I know, so true.
I
the other
did not
night,
touch the black monolith in the room, however.
Let's see what the.
Oh, speaking of black monoliths, I didn't tell my Wheels Off Liberty story, did I? No. Did I?
No,
Uh-oh,
I don't
go
think
for it.
so.
Yeah. Oh, I couldn't remember.
Sorry, I forgot that Laura didn't have a mic, so when she
we
said
talked
no,
to-
I was like, oh.
Because I need a fifth mic.
Well,
So
we only have enough mics for 4. That's our mixer. We need to get a fancier mixer or something. Yeah, so
you can have my mic.
Wheels Off Liberty did their live broadcast from Porkfest because I guess
Because
the 4
they're dicks.
yeah, and because the 4 of them
Does anyone actually listen to the Wheels Off Liberty?
I listened to him, dude. I'm a homo.
You. He listens to Wheels Off Liberty.
I've been told by all 4 members of Wheels Off Liberty not to listen to the show.
There you go.
I plan on listening to some over the summer. That's one of my summer things.
But the first time I had listened to them was at Porkfest, and I think I'm going to start pulling out my support for Thinking Liberty and give it to them.
That
instead.
sounds like a good plan. As a member of Thinking Liberty, I think that is an awesome idea. I'd like to point out that they're the only show I know where you can purchase a sponsorship from them. They will say that your product absolutely sucks and causes diarrhea, and the fans will actually still buy the product. That's some pretty amazingly loyal fans right there.
Start selling these assless chaps.
There are
Aren't
no
chaps-
ass-full chaps.
Yeah,
They're all
chaps
assless.
are inherently assless. We had this conversation goes back
It
like
comes up like
12 years.
yeah.
It
So
keeps
you
coming
guys
up.
talk about assless chaps
You guys
a
have been
lot.
talking about assless chaps for over a decade.
Yes, I had a
Yes.
dream when I was in college that the one guy we work with who's been on the show, Mike, right?
Yeah.
That Mike got us all thrown out of our dorm room because he was walking around in assless chaps.
and that's how
That
I
sounds like something he would do, actually.
That actually sounds very realistic. Now, Mike was getting down on the dance floor that last night. That was pretty good.
I can believe it.
if you call that getting down.
Yeah, he was going at it. He was like, wow.
Did he look like a halfway inflated, flailing, waving arm guy?
Yes.
I have pictures and video. I will show you.
Yes. But so Wheels Off Liberty, they're doing their live show. They have a big audience and they're making everyone laugh. Their goal is to prank call Free Talk Live, but because Free Talk Live is at Porkfest and really isn't taking calls, that doesn't go well. But they end up having a Q&A. So I figure I'll go up there and bust their balls because they've talked trash about Thinking Liberty before. So I go up there, and when I finally get in, Jamie tells me to turn around to the crowd and says, "Man, look, this guy's like the bastard child of Ian Freeman and Dale Everett." Everyone thinks that's real funny, real
But
funny.
I could totally see that, though.
Yeah, because I'm thin and blonde.
Yeah.
Yeah, otherwise I look nothing like them.
No, but you do. You look like.
But I'm thin and blonde.
You look like Skarsgård, though. So that was
Sure.
because I saw the True Blood premiere yesterday, and wow.
And we're
That-
not going to let Bile finish his
Yeah.
story.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So,
I immediately lost concentration of it, which is why I'm going to the doctor. So go ahead.
So so my question, I went up and my question was, why aren't you guys as cool as the Thinking Liberty crew? And everyone starts laughing at them. And then one of them, maybe it was Mandrick, he's like, well, who are you? I'm like, well, I'm Bile from Thinking Liberty. And people start laughing. And Jamie says something and goes, well, of course your show's better than Wheels Off Liberty. He's like, you've got a black eye.
Yeah, I kneue where that
But
was
Tennyson wasn't around, so I couldn't. I turned around and
So
I don't.
you showed a picture of him.
really, we've got a black guy. Look at this.
So I'm going to have to go on Wheels Off Liberty then. So I got to just so I can give them some color then.
Yeah, but then they would be a better show for that short time
For
period.
that short, brief time.
According to
period.
their own definition of what's good, I don't know.
They would-
Does that mean if we get like an Asian or a Hispanic person or Native American
Yes.
or
I don't know. Is their
That-
voice as sexy as Tennyson's?
it could be, I don't know.
Tennyson's got a dead sexy voice.
But they didn't say that. They said you've got a black guy.
I'll see. When I talk to people, they talked about Tennyson's dead sexy voice.
Yeah, I know, but that's not Jamie from Wheels
No?
Off Liberty.
And actually, I'm pretty sure Jamie from Wheels Off Liberty talked about Tennyson's dead sexy voice too later
No,
on.
I met Jamie for the first time at Porkfest. It was pretty good. He's an all right guy.
So Tennyson gets, you have a very sexy voice, and the people who met me said, "Oh, good. Whenever you come on, the conversation just goes to dick jokes." That's fantastic.
But it's
I'm,
penis.
I'm glad that, like, as like mostly the only girl that's on the show, whenever you guys have guessed that, it's come down to dick jokes.
Southern Patriot
Yep.
78 says you need more vaginal Americans.
It's true.
Okay.
So,
All
so
right.
Laura, what's new in the world of penis?
Well, funny you should say that. I received a T-shirt from the guys who produced the movie The Taint, and that's some offbeat kind of horror movie, low budget that Bile and I saw over at Trauma Dance. And the image is pretty amazing from a graphic design. I'm going to get real serious here. From a graphic design perspective, it's a skull, and it's made of penises.
Okay.
It's pretty remarkable, actually. I should probably put it up on the website. So
What
people
was the
see it.
material that it was worked in?
What, the penis?
Yeah, I mean, like, was it made of vinyl or something?
It was
made
just
of
a
plastic?
transfer. It was just a T-shirt
Oh,
transfer.
it's just a print. I thought it was like a three-dimensional object. A
No,
skull.
no. I'm working on that.
Okay.
I'm going to try to do that with like Play-Doh. But in the
Yeah.
meantime, it's this great pink skull, and it's all penises all over.
Yeah. See, you're doing the
I'm
same.
sorry.
You're doing the same thing that I do all the time.
I don't walk around with a mic all day. I don't know what I'm doing.
I don't walk around with a mic at all, but I guess I have to now.
Everybody look at Darian. Darian can grip the microphone like a champ, and he's always screaming. So he's always fine on mic.
So can we talk about other things besides penis? I
And
do
pork
other
fest?
things,
So, Lulsec.
Lulsec. So who's Lulsec? What's Lulsec about? What's
Well,
Lulz
you all
mean?
know what lulls are. That's laughing out loud at, usually at someone.
That's what
I
we
can
do
have
this whole show
cheeseburger?
for.
And security. Sec is short for security.
Okay.
Among
Not
other-
section as I thought it might when I first saw Lulsec. I mean, I don't know. I just saw, the lull section or something. But it's lulls security.
Okay.
And they've been hacking websites for the lulls, and they've been exposing some information. They recently released this report from I think it's the Missouri Information Analysis Center, MIAC. The same folks who brought you the look out for people with Ron Paul stickers on their trucks
Nice.
report.
Yes.
They have a report on anarchist movement strategic report for official use only, all caps. And
I'm sure that's how they want it pronunciated too.
yeah,
No.
so I took a look at this and I was like, well, this is kind of weird. So I was reading it. I actually should have a Center for a Stateless Society column on that out by tomorrow. It's just in the editorial process, and I was like, well, what's going on here? And I was reading, I was like, okay, well, there's some factual information here, but it doesn't really sound like they quite know what they're talking about. Like they were doing a school project on this or something, and they're like, all right, what's the minimum I can do to get a C? Like that's how this thing reads. And so I'm looking at the varieties of anarchism. The first one is called anarcha-masculinism.
All
and I'm
right.
like, what the hell is that? I've never
never
heard of
heard of
that.
this.
So that's the only one that doesn't have a symbol, maybe because it's not real. And so I looked it up, and there's one website that mentions this. It's Anarchopedia.
Yeah.
It's just like a small stub page on
It's
this
a blurb.
Wikipedia type
I'm
website.
pretty sure someone just made that up for themselves, and then that's how it got on there.
Yeah, there's probably like 3 people who self-identify as it.
So I'm
It's
looking
one
at this,
person.
and I noticed something. The text is exactly the same as from this website. So all they did was lift text from websites and put it together.
All they did
and
was go to
con-
Anarchopedia and then just make a report out of it.
and they concluded that we believe that these groups represent significant domestic terrorist threats.
Okay.
So
Now, was it a consultant who made this report?
I'm not sure the
Sounds like-
origin of it, but it's the fusion centers, of which the Missouri Information Analysis Center is one. It's basically some kind of institution where federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies share information about the people they're terrorizing.
You can ask Catherine Bleich and John Bush about all this stuff, because this is Catherine Bleich was actually listed in one of these reports, apparently.
Wow, they picked her up off the internet?
Yeah, it's like sweet, innocent, sweet Catherine Bleich, who has a bit of a yelling thing, but no, she's great. I would not have suspected that they would just tagged her as a potential threat to the homeland. So,
Did Thinking Liberty make it?
no, I don't think we
no
were on the
market
radar.
anarchists were even mentioned.
I know,
in
yeah.
the thing. It's like,
Anarcho-capitalists,
wow,
market anarchists were not on the list.
I was like, man, like the InfoShop commenters must love this. Wow. Market anarchists are so irrelevant. They don't even get listed on the terrorist threats. Anarcho-masculinists do. I was thinking though, like, since there's no image for anarcho-masculinism, what if we emailed
Here it comes.
Mayak and said, well, we found a flag for these. I notice you don't have this information. We found this symbol to help you identify potential terrorists. And just send like a picture of a black flag with a big dick on it, and just see if they print it.
How did I know this was going to come?
A black flag with a big
That was
dick
like
on.
a 45-second setup for a dick
know.
joke.
It was
It
great.
was amazing. Yeah,
It
I
was like-
loved it.
that's
And
the-
Lore wasn't even on.
I know. No, she set this in motion here. But
She
it
set
was-
this in motion.
I know, but
I
that was the
completely
payoff.
zoned out. Wait, what just happened?
Something
There was a
about
dick
a
joke.
penis. So.
Oh, come on. There's really.
All right.
Anarcho-masculinism.
This
It's not
is-
even
it's-
anarcho-masculinism.
It hurts a little, guys. Come on. I'm not just,
All right,
there's more
please,
to me.
Pick another topic. Go.
I don't even want to talk about the first thing that came into my head. I'm just going to turn the mic.
What was the first thing that came to your head?
At work. No, because it's contrary to everything I just said. At work, I was talking to some people, and we were talking about how nice it is to see horses like running on like the beaches. And someone said, "Well, did you ever really see like an actual male horse run and it kind of just drags itself across the sand?" I don't know why.
Oh my god.
The first
What the hell, Lore?
I'm trying to that's not what I'm about. And it really was. They just drag. It's like 10 feet behind it.
We got the horse cock? How the hell did we get there?
Well, let's back up from the horse cock here, and
Whoa.
I'm not even-
That's what she said.
Whoa, it's a family show, man.
we're gonna frighten away Porkfest attendees.
Oh, man.
So how?
All right, so Lulsec, I think we need to start editing Anarchopedia and these other things to include blurbs about Thinking Liberty so we can get in some more of these reports. Or even better,
Thinking Liberty, the top anarchist website
I bet you
on the internet.
I bet you they contract out this report making stuff. So
Yeah,
even better,
probably.
we could just win that contract, like lowball the bid like you wouldn't believe, and then just give them random BS information.
So all you got to do is just pretend that you're like super patriots and say like, yes, for America, we are going to produce this report totally for free because we've been watching these enemies of the United States forever. Give us the job.
It's the government.
And
I
then
think you
it'll-
just got to put in the lowest bid.
Yeah, and then it'll just be pictures of dicks.
That's the lowest bid. I'm doing it for free.
There
In
you
fact,
go. I'm
I'll
doing it
pay-
because I love my country.
Yeah, we'll pay you so we can do this.
That'd be awesome. Do you think we could buy like an ad banner in one of these reports? Attention police, when you're not tasering people or gunning them down in their own homes, you should listen to Thinking Liberty. Those guys are terrorists.
I could see a bunch of cops rolling around in a cop car like, all right, make sure you keep your eyes open for the big horsecock flag. It says right here in the pamphlet that that's what these people use.
A horse with a lucha libre mask. That's the symbol. That and Pedo Bear.
Yeah, Pedo Bear's riding the horse.
Oh, it's awesome.
So,
Bio looks like he really wants to say something.
Please say something, Bio.
before you got into that whole thing about the flag. I was gonna ask if you're high tonight, Bosco, because you keep going.
No, I'm just laughing a lot.
This is his new laugh here. Don't judge him.
That's gonna be my new laugh.
That's how I know when Bosco's actually, and I notice it too, when everyone's actually high, that's when people really think I'm funny. Because Megatron, I had her falling into the ground, rolling around. You were,
Wait, Megan was laughing?
she was laughing.
That's great.
she was laughing a
She
lot.
laughs.
There's a
What are you
picture of
I've-
Megan
I've,
that
I've seen it like a couple of times.
Well,
but
she
usually,
only sulks at you, but she laughs.
I mean, it's usually because somebody else is in pain.
no, that's me.
That's totally true.
Yeah.
There's
I
a
laugh
picture
at
of her just laying flat on her back, covering her face up like next to a finish line
I-
of some sort.
Yeah,
I
it's
was
like,
at the gate
did
party.
she not reach? She
going
couldn't
on?
reach the other side there.
I think out of all, I think she had the best time.
Yeah, she
Unfortunately.
might have.
Yeah,
Dude, when I showed up at Porkfest, I was like, "Hey, it's good to see you." And she's like, "Hello."
And she disappeared. And she disappeared into the van. And that was it. I expected her to come back. She never came back. I'm like, I think she's in the van.
Oh man,
Yeah, that van definitely had a presence. You know, when
It's
you
a good van.
when you see it driving by, it's like, whoa, what's going on in
You
that
see
van?
it running over Seth Cohen's
Have-
lawn. son.
Have we talked about the giant fail that the rickshaw was yet? Has that been
Uh,
discussed?
yeah,
That
it
a giant
was.
fail.
There was a little bit on.
Yeah,
earlier.
the only time it actually you chased after the truck for until we got down to
Yeah.
maybe the brew, and then it just sat there through the night and got rained on.
That thing's heavy.
Wait,
Okay.
The rickshaw itself was heavy,
Yeah.
so I guess you just got to get lighter materials.
No, I just gotta get stronger legs.
Eh.
I gotta get stronger legs and lower gears.
I mean, who has stronger legs, you or Darian?
Probably Darian.
Really?
Well, actually, no.
You're
Leg
probably
wise,
better at bicycling.
yeah,
than
leg
I am.
wise, I'm probably stronger, but I'm also pulling a lot more mass than Darian. So I got to keep the legs,
Not a
lose the
lot
mass.
more.
I got to get one of those biker builds. Oh, speaking of which, you know the guy who I look exactly like, the guy who played Randy on My Name Is Earl.
Huh.
That actor. He was
See,
also
I didn't watch that
The
show.
guy from Mallrats. It was. It's a
Yeah, he's
scooter.
he's from Mallrats. He was in the Butterfly Effect. He apparently got into bicycling and lost a whole bunch of weight. In case you're wondering.
Yeah, but you do look like James from James Ashby from SMBC videos.
Okay, yeah, I
Yeah.
could see that. Yeah.
So what you're saying is next Pork Fest you'll be all slimmed down and you'll be wearing spandex with your giant like muscle thighs, like
Giant muscle thighs. That's where you're going.
yeah.
Can we
that
have
would
like
be-
a muscle off between Bosco and Pete Air and Adam?
Peter. You know what I told? Actually, I didn't even tell him this. I meant to. Was I'm waiting for the Pete Air workout tapes. That's obviously what's got to come out, like the workout website with the like the DVDs you can get, and
yeah, and when you're in prison and you're trying to
Exactly.
keep warm, here's
it's
an
got him
exercise.
doing like chin ups on like cell bars and stuff like that.
That would be
very
pretty
exciting.
awesome. Do remember when he was doing the Motorhome Diaries, he had a few workout videos, and I liked them. It was like
They were
yeah,
good.
you
They
guys
were
are
good. Think of all the cool things you could do, though. You could have him like, he's like whatchamacallit, he's walking from one side of the field to the other side, and each time he's doing a squat and touching the top of his head and going, "Refuse to take off your hat. Refuse to take off your hat." It's just over and over. I mean, there's
you
all
do
kinds of cool
sound a
stuff.
lot like Pete when you can do that.
See, there you go.
So we're gonna have you do it.
Okay, have me do-
okay, you'll be Pete stand-in.
in a suit filled with balloons.
It's like, okay, Pete, stand in, go.
Yeah,
You can't tell the difference in the cut. Go.
It's like Arrested Development when George Michael had the muscle suit, and he's like,
Oh,
"Well,
yeah.
I'm really muscular, so
That'd be fantastic. Yeah, I would totally get those workout tapes.
So
I
you
think that'd be
guys
cool.
watch shows that I don't watch.
You've never seen Arrested Development?
I think I might have seen like a commercial.
You missed
good show.
It's long since dead, but I mean, it was a fantastic show when it was
I
on.
watched one episode. I just laughed along with Darian, so didn't feel left out.
Yeah, I'll probably just watch it on Netflix or something. One of these days.
It's worth watching, and I think it is on Netflix.
All right.
what other shows are you guys watching?
The other day, my
True Blood?
Netflix.
Oh.
Oh God,
Premiere of True Blood.
I'm still on like season 2 of True Blood,
I
watching
haven't
it.
seen
All right,
3
yeah.
yet.
Season
Computer.
3 was the best season out of all. Season 1 was pretty good. Season 2 was not. Season 3 was made up for season 2 because season 2 was just garbage. And then season 4,
I'm like 2 episodes into season 2. I definitely like
gets really
see
weird.
kind of a lack of focus in the
Yes.
show, but
I don't know whether
I don't
they
know.
just took everybody from season 1 and fired them all. So like, okay, you guys did a great job. Just get the hell out of the building. I'm not even getting the checks. And then now with season 3, it's like, okay, they brought back the team from season 1. They're going to keep alternating that. So you get crap on the even number of seasons. So now season 4, they brought back, the beta team that was, held on the side for season 2. And now they're going to get these guys like, okay, you got your shot. Go. And they really should not have been given this shot. But that was the first episode, and I have bad things to say about that first episode. I hear that the second episode made up for the awful first episode. But
I love how you say like, you don't say the show sucked. You say, I have bad things to say about the show.
yes,
There was a lot of hatred in my heart directed towards the show.
yeah. I really enjoyed the True Blood series, not the book series because I haven't read that, so it's an entirely new universe. But just my gosh, how do you screw that up? It's really hard to screw up some of these things. They manage to do it so easily, so effortlessly. It's almost like they're trying to do it and they practiced.
They're just
Like,
trolling you.
That would be the best trolling
It's
ever.
Trollolo. That's what they're doing here. They're putting it on HBO. It's HB Troll.
HP troll.
That's awesome.
Troll.
Oh,
I was looking at Netflix the other day, and my options were I'm like, well, I could either watch 2001: Space Odyssey, it's like, or I could watch the Salvador Dali movie, or my other option was this movie called Golf Balls that was like a knockoff version of Caddyshack.
Well, I know which one you watched.
Oh wow.
So what do you think I chose?
I haven't known you that long, but I think
wait,
I
wait,
know
wait.
you well enough.
so how was Salvador Dali?
Not as good as Golf Balls. Yeah, it was pretty awful.
Pretty awful. Oh, really?
Imagine that.
I've been watching 1,000 Ways to Die. And
Okay, yeah, I saw
now
they
I'm
got
just
that. Yeah.
delighted that The Secret Life of the American Teenager is now available on Hulu.
Oh wow, somebody's
I-
got to fix that.
I'll tell you
Where's
something right
Lulzsec
now.
when you need
It's
him?
such a terrible show, but Ernie Hudson's on it, and I just can't. I can't look away. I can't.
Who's Ernie Hudson?
He's Winston from Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah, now I know.
Yeah. He showed up. I was like, oh my God, Winston's here. But 1,000 Ways to Die is really, it's kind of campy, but it's got its moments.
It makes you think of Bosco and his experiments.
It kind of does. It makes you think of Bosco's like camping trips alone.
These are good ideas. We actually, speaking of camping trips, alone, we're supposed to be going on a camping trip together in a couple weeks, right?
That is true.
how
Hopefully,
cute.
there will be a lot of Thinking Liberty
I think
commentary material here.
I was thinking the exact same trail. Actually, the more thought I gave it, the more I'm like, yeah, leaving out of Benson, Northville Placid Trail sounds like a good way to do it.
How long are you
right.
guys going for?
5 days.
5 days.
5 days.
Is
Alone in the
actually,
is it
woods.
gonna be
this,
like-
really camping, or this like Porkfest camping?
Oh,
This
this
is,
is
like, really
actual
camping.
camping.
Just to be carrying all your crap on your back
Yep.
and wishing that you weren't doing that. for
Exactly.
part of it.
The nice thing
That would be
is,
good.
there's, now that I would have been up and down that trail like 4 times now, there's a decent amount of places you can just like slack off. Like there's a place where they just have this canoe that you can randomly take out on a lake, and there's fun crap to do up there.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, it's good to be by a lake, when it's in the summer and
Yeah,
everything.
there's a lot of lakes up there. So
Where is it again?
kind of go from one to another. Benson, New York.
Okay.
The Northville Placid Trail. So it's the start of, it's like the very base of the Adirondack Wilderness area.
Sounds pretty awesome. I think I had tried to talk to you at Porkfest. I don't know how inebriated you were at
No,
that point.
I recall that conversation. I remember at the time I was like, yeah, I couldn't decide between Appalachian Trail and picking up at Del Water Gap or going up to Benson and doing the Northville Placid. I think I decided on the Northville Placid.
All right, excellent. I will be prepared. Stuff.
When
You
We'll
will
have to-
probably be more prepared than me.
When are you guys going?
The 6th of July?
Oh.
You want to come?
I can't make it.
Okay.
Yeah. I
So it's
can't.
going to be the day after the next Thinking Liberty.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be gone that weekend. We're going to Blobfest in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania.
Nice.
Did you just make that up?
No, I swear it's really
Okay.
there.
It's really there.
But Phoenixville or Blobfest?
Okay.
both?
Both. No, both exist. It's a little celebration honoring the Blob.
Nice.
Blob?
Yeah.
You mean the
Yeah.
movie? The
All
Blob?
versions
the
of it,
movie.
even the new one?
I don't know about that. I think
Yeah.
it's just the originals. Well, and we were the big hype is that they film everyone running out of the Colonial Theater like they do in the movie. So I was really excited about that, and I kept checking the Colonial Theater page for updates. It looks like they finally kind of put things out. Maybe the week of Porkfest.
Okay.
So Friday night sold out. That's the only day they're doing the run out from the theater. So that's a little sad. But we are going to go see a double feature. We're going to see I think Invaders from Mars and The Blob. So
Good mix.
Still never seen the Blob.
it's on Netflix.
You've never seen any Blob version?
No, I've seen Chud, but no Blob.
I never saw Chud.
Chud was pretty good.
Have you seen Attack of the Killer Tomatoes?
No, I haven't.
No?
Oh, another good one.
I saw the cartoon.
Yeah, I saw the cartoon too. That
Have
was
you seen The
pretty good.
Toxic Avenger?
Yep. So
I
remember
have.
that cartoon?
Have you
All
seen
right.
Garbage Pail Kids?
Yep.
No.
That's awful. Just skip it. It's not even.
Okay.
There's nothing redeeming about it.
All right.
Good to know.
Did you see Gravedale High?
No,
Ah, see, that was an
No, I
old
did
cartoon. Yeah. It had Rick Moranis in there.
I watched. Oh, what was it? I forgot what the movie was called last night, but it was about the home funeral movement.
The home
actually pretty
funeral
interesting.
movement?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a big movement.
Like
Yeah.
how homeschooling is?
It's like taking care of your dead in their home without bringing them to
Oh,
funeral
to a funeral
homes.
home.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of walked away from it saying like I really I like that better than kind of handing off
think-
a loved one to someone that
I think it's a good
doesn't know
idea.
them. I think it is too.
I think the more you abstract people from the waste they create, even if that is other human beings, then the easier it is for people to
Yeah.
pollute.
It was
I-
called
it-
a Family Undertaking, which is available for instant stream on Netflix.
That's a good title.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very
Oh,
Adam
we-
Smith title.
He set off an alarm.
Yeah, we've got alarms going off.
Ooh, this is exciting.
You know, I think it's just beautiful when a family can get together and, build a giant funeral pyre on the edge of a cliff and then wrap their loved one and put them up there.
Their
and
still living
at-
loved one
at-
pleading for life.
And
At
then,
night and
then the
just-
widow gets on there with the magical eggs and comes out completely naked, covered with dragons.
that was a good scene.
Oh,
That
okay.
was pretty
All
good.
right.
So you totally gave that away for anybody who's going to watch that show.
No, I
who
didn't
can-
say what it was. I just said
Yeah,
it.
don't say what it is because I don't recognize it.
I know.
So.
See, there
But
you
it's
go.
awesome, and
I
when
know.
you see it happening, before, you'll probably know that's what happened.
Yeah.
Is that Game of Thrones?
Might be, but it might not be.
The
It
noise
might
that's
be-
coming from outside reminds me of the ants and them right now.
Oh, that's another good movie.
That is a good
Are
movie.
we just going to talk about?
Do we
good
have
movies
this on the mic?
We
Is it coming
have
through?
descended
I
into
can
talking
hear it.
about Netflix.
Okay.
Yeah, them is really good. When I was younger, I used to go to my grandmother's house, and she always used to put like monster movies on.
Yeah, you
like,
were
at
telling me
Channel
it
11
was
on
on like
Sunday.
yeah. Right.
And my parents to this day kind of wonder why I'm a little mildly off. I have to talk into the mic.
You got to turn with it.
Well, the mic is dome shaped, so I,
know.
kind of
it's-
feel like I have.
You feel like you got a little bit of space to move around, but you don't.
If you actually hold it and move it with your body rather than resting your arm on your leg, then it wouldn't be a
You
problem.
got to grip it and stick your elbow up really high and point the mic towards your face and yell.
Think of it like a
Don't
giant
say it.
microphone.
Don't say it.
No, you just got to hold it in the air.
Don't be like our previous producer who was like, you gotta, you're giving a blowjob to a mic.
I miss the previous producer. I used to listen to the show just to
you
hear
don't.
the random racist crap you guys would have to put up with.
It was really fun because he would just bust in and just say ridiculous stuff, and I would just kind of sit there and I would really try to get him to come on just because it was funny.
See, you got to understand too. My experience with the previous producer was the one time I met him, and I'm like, "Oh my god, you really are a racist jerk." And then it's like, okay, that's all I had to interact with him. So it's very easy for me.
That was back in the Patriot Radio days when this was a much crappier show, and we didn't really know what we were talking about half the time.
Patriot Radio, who after this show no longer streams us.
Am I holding the mic tight enough? Biles, is this okay, or do you want it harder?
Yeah, that's fine. You just
You
gotta,
want it?
Do you want
just
me
keep-
to,
okay.
should I hold on to it tighter?
just keep your arm
or should I
in.
choke up on it a little bit more?
You just keep your arm in the air. Keep
Well, I
your
don't
arm in
want.
the
I
air.
don't want to slip and slide. Is this okay?
It's not
Do
going to.
you don't like? Can you show me how you like it? Because if you show me, I'll know how to do it.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's not the same when you have another person.
This is what you get.
So, Laura, you were talking about how your grandmother didn't like you and was either trying to mess with your head or just get you out of the house
You're
by
telling
showing
us
you
about
scary
your-
movies.
No one,
Your
no one in my
abusive
family
childhood.
likes
That's
me.
what you were
It's
telling
just,
us about.
Just how it is. Oh well, I'm gripping it.
Go ahead, continue. Tell us about your grandmother.
She's a lovely lady.
Okay, but the story.
There's no story. She liked to ride horses in North Carolina on the beach. That's what she liked to do.
So this
Okay.
is the origin of the dreams.
All right.
All right, so we have about 8 minutes left. I don't think we have anything in the chat room people are asking us about. Do we have a contest? We had a contest for people.
We do. Is it the one that I'm helping with, or is it a separate contest?
Well, we also had a contest for people to submit the best food at PorkFest, but nobody participated in this.
oh,
so,
can I
uh,
submit the best food?
Yeah, and
I'll
then
win.
Ryan will have to give you a shirt.
That's easy.
Ryan, give me a shirt. I like to say the best food was from the guys from Wisconsin that did the grilled cheese.
Windigi.
Yes. They had a really excellent grilled
Yeah.
cheese. You can
I
get,
went there very often, but not
Yeah.
for food.
They had decent brats. You can get little wedges of cheese, and their burgers were great, served on a buttery bun.
Oh, I didn't have the burgers. I had the grilled cheese. I liked it, but I think I like George's food better.
Yeah,
The Thai,
Thai food.
Thai was good too.
it was good, and I don't even really like Thai food that much, but the noodles were just so good, and
All right, there was such a great variety of food there. I loved that about PorkFest.
I'm getting hungry.
Did anybody go to the Stone?
no.
No.
I
No,
did
I mean
not.
they were certainly pricier than everybody else, but they sold a little bit better quantity, and they were upscale. You got a place to sit. You got real plates and real knives and forks. It was a real restaurant experience, and so I was like, okay, I'll pay $12 for that plate of spaghetti or whatever it is they charged. And again, it was pretty good too. I saw a curry place. There's places that just sold egg rolls and things. It's really coming up. So next year I'm thinking of adding to it.
I
Not
really wish I
myself,
did the
of
one
course.
pot cook off. I have to say.
That was very good. Very.
That would have been a good
totally
choice.
worth it.
So for a contest, we've got the guess whose chest, guess the chest.
Oh.
And
Okay.
as a prize, I have the 2010 All Expo DVDs because I'm never gonna watch those.
Wow. Way to really sell those DVDs.
Well, I was there. I don't need to watch them again, frankly, and whatever.
You
So-
know, you
but
just
I
want to
gotta-
watch mine over and over and just pause when I'm at a particular facial.
Well, see, since I don't
expression
believe
and-
in intellectual property, I'm just gonna rip it and then put it up on the interwebs and then give you the DVD or give away the DVD.
I'm Darian. This is the history of anarchism. 1545, December 12th. Blah, 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 did blah, blah, blah. 1546. I've made a timeline.
So guess
how it
the
works.
chest will be put on the Thinking Liberty website.
Wait. Whose chest is it?
I have to
Our
snap,
chests.
I have to snap
Oh,
your
it's
chest.
like one of the host chest. Okay.
Yeah, their heads are not there. It's just their chests.
Okay. Is it going to be in black and white so people can't immediately spot me?
Yeah. What? See what you did? I might put my chest up there too. We'll see.
All right.
Mix them all up.
We'll see what happens.
That's not going to be recognizable either.
No, it's definitely gonna blend in. So-
Yeah, I was just thinking of like pecs and nipples, and then that would have been a much harder contest. But you have like the entire torso on there, you know.
Wow.
But-
So somebody makes a contest for us, and you decide to put her down live on the air.
I wasn't putting her down. I was just pointing out the difference
You
in
might
our
be a bad
At
creative
least, you know
vision.
what?
happened
At least
to you?
At least he puts me down like to my face and doesn't do it behind my back. I respect that.
June 2011, Darian makes fun of someone on Anarchist Show. Add it to your timeline. God.
Yeah. So anyway, once they get around,
on how this worked and its effects. I have several primary sources that you can see what everybody said about this occurrence.
Okay. That was a totally out of nowhere voice. I didn't even know how he did that.
amazing. So the contest.
well, I mean, once they get around to, we're kind of busy this week, so we got a couple things going on. Maybe I'll put the pictures together tomorrow.
I still got to mail out the last shirt winner, too. We had
So-
somebody win that.
So they're going to be on thinkingliberty.net, the Guess the Chest contest. There's going to be host. There's a guest host thrown in there as
There
a
is.
wild card.
There is.
And you guess them. And I don't know. I guess, how are we going to do it? First person to send it in correct wins?
I don't know. Maybe no, because I
Wins glossy photos of our chests.
yes.
I can easily tell all of you apart.
Okay, that's you. You
Bosco's
see
the
our
hardest
chests
one.
every day.
No,
Yeah,
I
we
don't,
do the
but-
show naked. If there was a Guess the Nutsack, you would also win. Because
Exactly.
we do the show naked.
Well, that's the next one. I want to see how well the guess the chest goes, and then we'll go right to the nut sacks.
Thinking Liberty, the show that goes straight to the balls.
The next show is called Inner Thigh or Butt Crack. That's this you have to guess.
And it's only pictures of you in different positions.
Facial hair or pubic hair?
The next show, the next
This is
contest.
fantastic. I'm not writing this down.
The next contest is just, can you click through all these images? And we'll just keep track of who actually makes it to the last one.
I could get some really good pictures of you, to be honest. Like, I'm just saying right now that
It's like
I've been
those-
thinking about it. And
Thinking
It's like
about
those
it.
photos of vegetables.
I've been
and
thinking about
you're
taking
not sure if
pictures
they're,
of
like, body parts.
men who are have some extra weight on them. So I'm like
Why?
like-
Why do you think about these things?
because I'm thinking about photographic projects. Like, okay, this is a kind of project that I could probably do.
Just
And put it
give
in-
them a lumberjack shirt and axe and
no.
overalls,
No.
and you're good to go.
no clothes, no clothes.
no clue.
I mean, yeah, I could do that other thing too because he could be a perfectly fashionable
You know, in
person.
the right
But
light.
I'm thinking about fat naked guys. So
That's good to know,
The
Tennyson.
right light can make you look smooth and soft.
That's
true.
good to know.
Yeah, I'm thinking of just the rotundness can be a really really nice thing to bounce the light off of.
Would you have to shave him first?
No, you wouldn't even really have.
No,
to shave.
you would have to shave him.
Oh, come, let's go.
Electrolysis.
As long as you overexpose it a little bit, you can have a really nice and interesting shot there. So, yeah, I should show you the work of the guy I used to work under, John Healy. Like he did this whole series of fat women, and it was kind of remarkable.
I just got distracted because somebody typed boob twice in the chat room.
So we have about a minute left. Do we have any tech news?
No.
Yeah.
You.
Okay,
We
I
already
hate you
talked
so
about
much.
hover bike news.
All right,
so
I do have the tech news that I was talking about like throughout Porkfest, which is the fact that this woman who was born without a uterus and eggs got a transplant from her mother, and so she has her mother's uterus and eggs inside her. And so now she's trying to get pregnant. She wanted to do this because she wanted to give birth to children. And her boyfriend's sperm is now injected into the uterus. And they do this in order to keep the uterus from being rejected by the body. So if it gets pregnant, it actually has a better chance of surviving in the body. So the children that she has are going to have children done with her mother's eggs. So
I'm just still trying to figure out like how that works on the family tree.
Well, I mean, the children she's going to have are going to be her brothers and sisters, but they're going to be fathered by her boyfriend, and she's going to be their physical mother. So,
well, this is interesting.
yeah, it's going to be very interesting.
So what stage is this at?
I'm pretty sure she's in the first trimester still, because I just saw the report like 2 weeks ago.
Okay, well, we'll see how this goes.
I
What
know, this is gonna
implications do you think this will have beyond the the obvious people in that exact same condition?
Implications really is just giving hope to people who were born with these kinds of sexual dysfunctions. If you were born without some kind of uterus, you can get a transplant, and it's best to probably get a transplant from someone who's within your family. So it just gives these people a little bit more, something to strive for. That they can actually have these kinds of lives, giving birth to children, being mothers.
All right, so I think we are out of time for tonight. Thank you for listening to ThinkingLiberty.net. I think next show we're going to have a lot of tech and crypto talk, right?
Yeah, where Perry is going to be on the show if he's not sick.
All right, so this should be
That's not
should be a good
foreshadowing
time.
something. So.
All right, so thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed the podcast. You can catch all of our stuff at thinkingliberty.net. We
Guess
have
the
a
chest.
donate tab. Next time you listen, don't forget how to interact with us. We've got the Skype. You can email us, all that stuff.
The Skype.
Thinkingliberty.net. Thanks for listening and live free.
Or die.
Sorry, I can't really keep that up for that long. Roll the tape back. I want to do more of those. I like those little guys.